One thing I came to learn over the past years is that magnification is very important. Or better said, choosing an adequate magnification level depending on the seeing conditions and observation type is key. More isn't always better, but does this also apply to binoculars as well? Well, recently I got the chance to try out the low-power SV407 2.1 by 42mm binoculars from Svbony and answer this question firsthand. Let me walk you through it. Hi, I'm Bogdan Damian and welcome to another video review. Founded in 2009, Svbony is a rather small optics company in a world of big players like Skywatcher, Celestron, Explore Scientific and Bader Planetarium. They are based in Hong Kong and are specialized in manufacturing and marketing of optical instruments and accessories for astronomy and daytime observations. One of the lesser known products from their lineup is the SV407 2.1 by 42mm binoculars. A good friend of mine had these for a while and was very impressed with them, so much so that he insisted that I try them out as well, telling me that these are different from ordinary binoculars. You see, usually binoculars fall into one of the following two optical design categories: binoculars with a, let's say, more conventional poro prism design, and binoculars that employ a more complex but straight-through rooftop design. Both these designs employ multiple prism elements, bending the light before it reaches the eyepieces. Here the SV407's design is different. It doesn't use any prism to alter the light's path and therefore doesn't fit in either one of the two aforementioned categories, and this is what got me intrigued in the first place. So long story short, I agreed to trying them out, so he lent them to me. And as soon as I took them out of the box, I began to see what he was on about. These look and feel like no ordinary binoculars I have tried out in the past. At a first glance, they look more like a really chunky pair of glasses than a pair of binoculars. Okay, that might be a bit of a stretch, but these are really different. For starters, they are really flat, measuring only 54mm or 2.12 inch from front to back. They also don't feature a typical central focusing knob. Instead, both eyepieces can be rotated independently to obtain perfect focus. This can be done in a smooth and pleasing way, which I quite like. As mentioned earlier, there aren't any complicated prism arrangements inside, just 5 fully multi-coated lens elements for each side to focus the light, 2 for the objective and 3 for the eyepiece. And that's it, plain and simple. And because of this simplicity, the SV407 was able to get an IPX6 waterproof rating, meaning these binoculars should withstand high pressure jets of water without a problem. The binoculars also feel really solid. This is no doubt thanks to the fact that Svbony only used metal and glass to build these. The whole thing has a nice heft to it, which in turn translates into a premium feel when holding them in hand, and this is quite nice. The hinge feels very sturdy and can support one-hand viewing without a problem. It also features a threaded hole for attaching the binoculars to a tripod adapter. Sadly, there isn't one included in the box and needs to be purchased separately. But luckily, the SV407 is light enough at 375 grams to be used for longer periods of time without being fatiguing when observing. Add in the 19mm of eye relief and you got yourself a pair of binoculars that are very comfortable to observe with. Alright, but what do you use these binoculars for? It can't be for land-based observations because the magnification of 2.1x is too low to offer any kind of real advantage compared to looking with your naked eyes at a distant object. So they are purely for astronomy applications then. More specifically, for looking at the moon. But the area where these really shine is simply roaming around the night sky and looking at the stars, especially those areas of the Milky Way that feature lots and lots of stars closely packed together. It's kind of hard to explain, but the low magnification of only 2.1x combined with the very wide field of view of 26 degrees allows for a unique experience when panning across the sky. I think the best way to think about these binoculars is to see them as a beefed up pair of eyeglasses. Again, I know eyeglasses, but hear me out. The first time I looked through these, I had the exact same feeling like when putting on a new pair of glasses for the first time. Everything looks sharper and has better contrast than before with the old glasses. But unlike a new pair of eyeglasses, these also feature a small magnification increase, which is just enough to reveal countless more stars than it is possible to see with the naked eye. In order to improve the views even further, there is also the possibility of attaching normal 2-inch filters in front of each objective, which is a nice touch, even though a potentially expensive one since you'll need 2 identical filters. Alright, now let's take a closer look at the SV407's optical performance. From an optical performance point of view, the SV407 is pretty decent. The glass elements are well corrected, and thanks to the low magnification, brightness and contrast levels are really good. On-center sharpness is excellent and only softens up once you pass the halfway mark towards the edge of the field of view, as you can see in this shot taken with my phone through the binoculars. You can see the exact point where the view starts to become soft. This effect is, however, normal in this price range, but what I don't like is that the last 10% or so of the field of view presents with a soft halo where the image gets a bit distorted. It's hard to capture on camera and it's nothing dramatic, but keep this in mind if you're looking to get these. There is also a slight curvature to the field of view that is only really visible when panning around. Here is a short video taken from my window during daytime. You can see the effect while I'm panning. This is comparable to a mid-tier eyepiece like the 82 degrees from Explore Scientific, for example. The views through the SV407 also present with a bit of chromatic aberrations or color fringing, especially in high contrast situations when looking at the moon. This effect is typical in achromatic optical systems. Here is another shot, this time of a chimney on my neighbor's roof. You can see a slight color fringe on the vertical edges. All of these might not sound that good, but the views delivered by the SV407 are actually better than most binoculars in the $100 to $150 price range. For example, when comparing it to the Timor 8x42mm HD binoculars I've reviewed in the past and I'm currently using whenever I get outside, the SV407 comes on top in almost every category except chromatic aberrations. So contrast and brightness levels are better on the SV407. The same can be said about color accuracy. The colors in the views delivered by the Timor look a bit off by comparison, though the amount of chromatic aberrations is slightly lower in the views delivered by the Timor. Sharpness is where the SV407 really shines in this comparison. Its field of view is simply sharper, but the area of the field of view which is softer is similar on both devices. In terms of build quality, the SV407 is on a different level. Not that the Timon feels cheap or anything, but there is something about an all-metal and glass build that simply suggests quality. Viewing comfort is also better on the SV407 thanks to its lower weight and slightly longer eye relief. Comparing the SV407 to the 15x70 SkyMaster from Celestron paints a different picture. Both binoculars feature a similarly good on-center sharpness, but the SkyMaster seems to be able to keep things sharp on a significantly wider area of the field of view. This is of course partially thanks to its much narrower field of view, 4.4 versus 26 degrees. Brightness and contrast are better on the SV407, but this is because of the higher magnification and more complex optical design of the SkyMaster. Color accuracy is very similar, both binoculars being able to correct the light fairly well. In terms of build quality, I'll have to give the edge to the SV407. It simply feels more premium, though not by much. Viewing comfort is an area where the SV407 can easily best the SkyMaster. Even though the eye relief is similar, the sheer size and weight of the SkyMaster makes using a tripod unavoidable for longer observing sessions, whereas the SV407 can be easily kept pointed up for longer without the need of a tripod. At the end of the day, these two binoculars couldn't be more different in terms of hardware and the applications they are intended for. While the SkyMaster is excellent for land-based and detailed lunar observations, as well as for observing some of the brighter DSOs, the SV407, as mentioned earlier, is awesome when it comes to roaming the night sky. Which one is right for you, you will have to decide for yourself. I must honestly admit that in the beginning, before actually taking it out of the box and pointing it up, I didn't have much expectations for the SV407. I especially thought that the lack of any meaningful magnifying capabilities would cripple this optical device too much to be a real use when it comes to astronomy applications. Even though I really believe in what I stated in the beginning of this video, that choosing an adequate magnification level with respect to the seeing conditions is very important in maximizing the image quality. But the SV407 proved me wrong. It might not have the best optical performance in its class, but the build quality is really good and the low magnification is actually a helpful feature. This is because keeping the magnification low allowed Svbony to maximize the width of the field of view, which is very important when you are aiming at creating an immersive viewing experience. It's also just enough to reveal a lot more stars than one is able to see with the naked eye, further improving on the immersive factor. And with respect to this aspect, I have yet to look through a more immersive set of binoculars. Anyway, that's been it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the SV407 and low power observations in general. I'm very interested in reading your opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching and catch you guys in the next one.